Alice McLafferty of the Crimson Caravan and Jean-Baptiste of the Van Graffs have a business proposition for one Rose of Sharon Cassidy, something to do with her caravan company. For this purpose, we are sent to the Mojave Outpost, a border checkpoint between Nevada and the NCR core lands to the west. Today, we'll make a friend, explore an over-designed early game location, and learn to differentiate between dialectics and diuretics. The Ranger Unification Monument can be seen all the way from Prim.
Nevada had its own posse, the Desert Rangers. They fought Caesar even farther east out in Arizona.
The Desert Rangers couldn't win against Kaiser by themselves, so they had to ask NCR for help. I suppose every invading body claims it was invited by someone, but in this case, it happens to be true.
Caravan, citizen, pilgrim, or...
Mailman. There are jobs we can do here, and the bartender lady plays cards. Easiest 1,000 caps I've ever made. Spend them on the skill book she sells and on food and drink items. We are gonna be needing a lot of those.
Don't they know it's burned to ash?
So it turns out Cassidy's Caravans no longer operates a caravan. Yet Rose doesn't want to sell the company. It's like selling your name, she says. After being persuaded via a skill check, she joins us as a follower. And immediately a crisis happens.
You are such an asshole sometimes.
Our past is catching up to us. See, because of all the stealing, lying, murdering, supporting terrorism, and other choices we made, our career ended with very low karma.
That was probably pretty dumb, huh?
Shut up, we haven't met yet. Rose will not initiate her companion quest, and she will leave the group if your karma is too low. So I reload a save I made prior to talking to Rose and wander around the area, desperately trying to figure out how to get positive karma. This was supposed to be a quick trip to the border, but due to complications, we'll end up staying at the outpost for almost 2 weeks.
Troubling news from Prim, as merchants report a large presence of armed, unsavory figures patrolling the town. Residents are nowhere to be found.
Move along, please.
Prim used to be a resort town. These days, it's terrorized by escaped convicts. The Bison Steve Hotel and Casino. Big name for what is basically an RPG dungeon. There is a very potent early game handgun locked in the safe here. A reward for enthusiast locksmiths. The inhabitants are permanently hostile powder gangers. So who will be the town's new sheriff?
Assuming an NCR pardon comes with the job.
Myers, the ex-lawman, is a strong candidate. The man respects the law so much that he chooses to voluntarily serve his sentence, even though the prison belonged to the convicts for some time now.
I also need to be able to do things my own way.
If you recognize the voice, that's because the VA, Ari Rubin, also did all these characters.
One of the powder gangers? Why would we want one of them anywhere in an official capacity?
Please, NCR man, I need Cass to like me. Myers is pardoned and Prim comes back to life. But the Prim Quest chain is not over. To trigger the next event, we need to wait for 3 days. When we come back to Vicky and Vance, we find the place occupied by deserters.
And we heard there may be some safety up in New Canaan.
That's north of Vegas, you moron. You're going the wrong way.
Fuck. We lose again.
Now we return to the outpost, eat, sleep, and stare at Brahmin for 3 more days, and surprise! The casino in Prim is fully renovated and open for business. You can buy chips, play the games, lose money. It's possible to get booted for winning too much, just like in the big city. I'm showcasing this because I don't think many individuals ever return to Prim after clearing the local dungeon. Look at that, we are no longer the wasteland Hitler.
Seems to be a lot of attention on Nipton.
The sniper on the roof of the outpost wants us to check on the nearby town of Nipton. Says she can see smoke coming from there.
Yeah, her name's Ghost or something. Fucking scary, ooh. Guess it's 'cause you'll never see her till you're dead.
No, it's because she's very pale.
NCR and their goddamn nicknames. As if Caesar himself's gonna piss and...
Isn't Kaiser also a nickname? Caravan of 2 now. Rose is the daughter of one of the companions from the second game. New Vegas is the closest thing we have to a direct sequel. Her mom was a tribal, but not an Arroyan tribal, so she's not related to our old protagonist character. Every town in this part of the world seems to be a little copy of Vegas, and Nipton is no exception. The mayor, a crook from California called Joseph B. Stain, himself ran a prostitution business. The town was open for everyone: the NCR, the powder gangers, the men of the Legion.
Don't worry. I won't have you lashed to a cross like the rest of these degenerates. It's useful that you happened by.
Ghost was right to be worried. The town of Nipton no longer exists.
Yeah! Who won the lottery? I did!
The first thing we see is a screaming powder ganger.
Powder gang is small time, man. I'm a winner!
For most players, Nipton will be the introduction to Kaisar's way of doing things.
I want you to witness the fate of the town of Nipton.
The man in a wolf hat is Vulpes Inculta, one of the Frumentari.
They operate behind enemy lines for extended periods, imitating the enemy's customs without becoming sullied.
The Frumentari are kind of like praetors from the CRPG sensation The Age of Decadence. They are warriors, but they are also educated, sophisticated. They know the art of persuasion. This suggests that somewhere behind the front line they have an academy-like institution that manufactures this type of talent. So here's what happened. The first thing that Legionnaires did was butcher the NCR troops in the Nipton brothel. Then they rounded everyone up and gave each of them a lottery ticket.
First up was the lucky losers. They got decapitated. Guess that's lucky cause it's pretty quick.
Then came the crucifixions. The rest were enslaved. Boxcars here got second place, so they just broke his legs.
Fuck!
And the sole winner got to leave Nipton unharmed. I wonder what happened to the mayor.
Him? When his ticket came up, they burned him alive on a pile of tires.
This is one of the game's big conversations. Authoritarianism versus liberalism. Legion versus NCR. War never changes, you understand. How do we save this sorry species from itself? The heroes and villains of Fallout offer different solutions to this problem.
A society that could prevent mankind from fracturing and destroying itself in this new world by establishing a new Pax Romana.
This time, war will change for sure. The people of Nipton outnumbered the Legionnaires, and yet nobody resisted. They all waited for their ticket, hoping it'll set them free. You are a nation, but you are not a community. But to be fair, neither is Kaisar's Legion, which is a socially Darwinian society where an individual has a life expectancy of a dog.
You lived 10 years in Caesar's army. You're forced to be reckoned with.
I wonder if he breeds them like dogs. If the Legionnaires manage to hit Nipton, this means Searchlight, the NCR town east of here, is also in trouble.
When Vulpes Inculta drove the NCR from Searchlight by clever means, Kaisar himself ordered me to set up this camp and harass the profligates.
The gunshots in the distance are the caravan guards firing upon a Legion patrol. The Legionnaires have a reputation for favoring melee weapons, but I suspect it's an elaborate Frumentari psyop. Most of them do carry guns. Traveling with a companion makes the game much easier. Rose is good with a rifle, but gets suspiciously shifty when we ask her what other weapons she can use.
What, you mean like spears? No, none of that.
This is a somewhat esoteric reference to a line of dialogue from Fallout 2. When you ask Cassidy what kind of weapons he can use, he begrudgingly admits that he's good with a spear. This is seen as a feature of a tribal and thus of low-status culture, and Cassidy is a sophisticated city dweller. He's better than that. It would seem he eventually got over his prejudice. The ruin in front of us is Searchlight, formerly an NCR military base, standing watch over the southern Mojave. You can tell it was put out of commission, because there is a Legion camp right next to it. Here is a fun mechanic. If you kill someone in stealth mode with no witnesses, you don't get a reputation penalty. That's a lot of Legion coins for us to lose at a casino. You guys are not gonna tell anyone what happened here, right? Freeing the Nipton survivors is the last bit of Powder Gang content in this game.
Don't act like you'd be doing me a favor. I don't give a fuck.
So neglected. Searchlight was destroyed by Kaisar's Frumentari in a way that is almost as dramatic as the ruination of Nipton. A group of Legionnaires managed to sneak into the fire station and unseal the nuclear fuel casks stored within, turning this place into Fallout 3.
Welcome to Camp Searchlight, the shittiest place on Earth.
That's the Colorado River. On the other side are Kaiser's core territories in Arizona. The screen filter crossfades from Fallout 3 back to normal brown vision. Hey, it's one of them, Keshiks.
This was the penalty for drug runners.
The Legion enforces a zero-tolerance policy when it comes to drugs. Papa Khan, back in Red Rock, doesn't seem to be aware of this. The Frumentarius is working him well.
Degenerates like you belong on a cross.
Welcome to Cottonwood Cove, one of the bigger Legion bases on this side of the river.
Awe.
Aurelius of Phoenix. Interesting armor design.
Nothing on this earth could make you worthy to wear the armor of a Kenturian.
The real reason we won't be getting one is because it's a Legion uniform, and wearing it makes NCR characters hostile.
There's no real equivalent to them in the NCR. Centurions are battle-born elite officers who earn their rank with blood and sweat. They wear special outfits, too, pieced together from the armor of all their defeated enemies.
The concept art version is so much better. It actually looks like a real suit of armor and not, a botched cosplay. So a relatively small Legion force managed to destroy a military base and to sack a town. And now they are at the gates of the Mojave Outpost, a critical transport artery connecting Nevada and California. That's impressive. And yet Kaiser doesn't seem to be able to capitalize on this. Probably for logistical reasons. They can't bring a large enough force across the river. And even if they could, they'll just get stuck here.
Hardly a day's work.
Trade dog tags to Aurelius in exchange for Legion rep. In his private residence, he has a melee weapon made out of dog tags. This looks very uncomfortable to use.
True to Kaiser.
I've seen enough of the Legion for now. We are heading back north. Back to Vegas.
Mojave Outpost sent word through the stations. The Rangers coming up from Baja moved through Dayglow a week ago. Wish they got here a bit earlier, but that's a Senate for you.
The weapon I'm carrying is a cowboy repeater. I borrowed it from a sleeping legionnaire. It fires a common round, has okay accuracy, and deals reasonable damage, especially with the cowboy perk. Boulder City was almost completely destroyed during the Battle of the Dam. Commanded by the Malpais legate, legionnaires entered the town chasing the retreating NCR troops. But it was a trap.
We'd packed the old city with C4 and dynamite.
Chief Hanlon studied the legate and predicted his actions. The Legion was routed and the battle was lost.
He went south, back to the Grand Canyon, back to Caesar.
This ended the career of the Malpais legate and a friend of Kaiser, Joshua Graham. Boulder City is where we finally catch up with the group of Khans who were escorting Benny in the intro cutscene, the ones that buried us alive. McMurphy didn't make it. He is a character we've seen in the comic.
What the hell? You're that courier Benny wasted back in Good Springs.
Don't worry, Jessup. I won't kill you. Simply being a Khan is punishment enough. The Hoover Dam, one of the wonders of the old world. The structure serves as one of the most substantial sources of electrical power in the region. It survived the Great War mostly intact thanks to Mr. House and the laser defense system he built on top of the Lucky 38 casino. And while this location is not exactly neglected, there is little reason to explore the dam outside of a handful of late-game quests. In the storage, we can steal Chinese stealth armor suits. I'd wear one, but unfortunately it replaces the helmet created by Puddle Pond. Anyway, so New Vegas has the best level scaling system I've ever seen in any game. Level scaling refers to a mechanic where your opponents become more powerful as you become more powerful. The purpose is to keep the adventure challenging. Understandably, it's a well-hated system. A bad implementation can trivialize progress and ruin the game, and most implementations are not great. This one is, because it works with the story. The plot of New Vegas is a ramp-up to the second Battle of the Dam. Once you hit level 16 or so, you'll start overhearing rumors about imminent reinforcements.
I've heard that elite units are on the way to support our armies here.
The NCR military is represented by two branches, the Army and the Rangers. The Army branch are not just conscripts, they have their own elite cadres.
Oliver's power armor heavy troopers are starting to reinforce the front lines.
The salvaged suits suits are missing their exoskeleton parts. Hanlon says wearing one is like carrying a pack of Brahmin on your back. They don't have an equivalent of Frumentari, but the Rangers also seem to be responsible for gathering intel behind the front line.
Word is that the Legion's old-timers have shown up. Caesar's veterans from the Red Okie Centuria and what was the Painted Rock tribe.
Red Okie Centuria sounds like a name for a DM group that makes you unemployable if leaked. We are almost home. The lights of the Strip. We have more than enough money to pass a credit check.
Very good.
McLafferty of the Crimson Caravan pays us for negotiating with Rose on their behalf. This little questlet turned into a saga. We store all the extra items in the follower safe house and sleep until tomorrow.
The NCR is the biggest gang of thieves in the Mojave. Only difference is they pass laws to make their crimes legal before they commit them.
Cass wants to visit the place where her caravan died, to pay her respects and all that. But something is wrong. The caravan was disintegrated, as in energy weapons.
Is Brotherhood-level murder here?
Rose quickly connects the dots. The Crimson Caravan and the Van Graffs, the energy weapon merchants, are working together to eliminate competition. They're taking advantage of the NCR dysfunction in Nevada. You are very clever, Alice. This is Cass' companion quest. We'll have to help her make a choice. We can work within the confines of the law, obtain proof of their crime and collusion, and present it to the NCR authorities. We can go to court. Perhaps a newspaper back in Shady Sands will write a story about this. There will be a scandal. Society will be made a little better. The problem with this approach is that positive change will happen in the distant future, and we live in the present.
The NCR has all the problems of the ancient Roman Republic.
No doubt the red-pilled Ed can offer a devastating critique of the NCR system from the opposite end of the political spectrum.
I'll destroy it because it's inevitable that it be destroyed. It's Hegelian dialectics, not personal animosity.
Caesar, you're such a stupid imbecile. You don't even know what dialectic means, you moron. Actually, what does it mean? Well, that depends. Let's take a look at a bunch of interpretations and apply them to the Legion. First, there is the Old Greek meaning. Dialectic is a debate. It's a way of arriving at the truth through argumentation. Simple as. Interpretation number 2. It's just pseudo-profound bullshit. And that's good. This paper, by Kara Yakubian et al., shows that when pseudo-profound nonsense is said by individuals we admire, it causes recipients to search for and find real meaning. Enlightenment through bullshit. If this is the Kaiser's dialectic, this might speak positively of him as a good communicator. Kara Yakubian is a great last name. Interpretation number 3. It's pseudo-profound bullshit. And that's bad. In some parts of the world, the language of Hegel is commonly appropriated by grifters who use it to aestheticize themselves as sophisticated. Dasha Dugina uses her Hegelian powers to prove that the English queen did bucha. The actually existing authoritarian ideologues are more similar to Borat than they are to Kaiser. Number 4. Hegelian dialectics.
Thesis and antithesis. The conflict is inevitable.
The TLDR is that Hegelian dialectics examines how ideas interact and change over time. I've been informed that the thesis-antithesis-synthesis explanation is not actually from Hegel, not that it makes much of a difference. Kaiser is talking about something genre-specific. In Fallout, the job of the villain is to present an answer to the Fallout question. How do we save humanity from tearing itself apart? The Legion has one answer to this question, and the NCR offers another. The two societies are built on very different ideas, and the war is a way of finding out whose ideas are better. Of course, this is Fallout, and the villain's answer must be flawed in some sort of a fatal way. The 5th dialectic, Marx. A reactionary society of today contains seeds of its eventual transformation into a progressive society. Is Dunmer nationalism progressive or reactionary? Well, directed against the mongrel dogs of the Empire, it's progressive. But it's also reactionary because the Dumners want to replace your upper face with a worm-like proboscis. critical support. And sure, it's easy to recognize elements of this sort of thinking in Caesar's design. Edward is a nerd. For him, civilization is about beautiful statues and classic literature. The Legion is not that civilization. It's just a tool he created out of whatever crap he had lying around. A tool to be used to make this future-based society we never actually get to see in the game. Meaning number 6, online posting. When you see someone using the term online, 9 times out of 10 it's a social media enthusiast of some sort of a political variety, usually MT. And in this context, dialectic simply means thinking long-term about a nation I like. Society is a mess. If you look for them hard enough, you can find reactionary or progressive elements in any political movement. It seems these days everyone wants to replace someone's upper face with a worm like proboscis. Hegel is about ideas. Marx is about social structures. The 6th dialectic is about vibes. It's about what you like and what your posting enemies hate. This approach is terrible for real life, but excellent for video games. This is the Courier 6 mindset, because it helps manufacture justifications to work with all the different factions in the game.
You're a follower of the apocalypse, or an idiot.
So yeah, Rose, I'm sorry for dumping this on you. I have these episodes sometimes. The woman is surrounded from all sides. McLafferty, Jean-Baptiste, Gloria, Brahmin tyrants, and New Reno gangsters. Do we solve this problem by working within the system, or do we get extrajudicial? Something to think about. But before we pull the trigger, we should meet the other power player.
Mr. House hides Vegas under his skirt when the bombs fall 1,000 years ago, so it belongs to him? Forever? You buy that? Baby, every boss has a line to explain why he's special. Why everyone's gotta do what he says. You're just figuring that out?
I have a mind to throw you all in a cell and let you sweat it off.
People come from all over to experience Vegas. There is no other place anywhere on Earth that's like it. The only tourist destination in the Fallout setting. Of course, the engine doesn't sell it well. Big cities are a problem for this technology. One of the mods I have installed merges the 2 strip areas into a single big location, and that makes things a little better.
The head honcho of New Vegas is itching to make your acquaintance.
Our friend Victor the Robot is here, inviting us to the Lucky 38 casino. No humans stepped inside for centuries. The casino is just as impressive on the inside. A beautiful, detailed environment with no people. Welcome to the world of Robert Edwin House.
You've come a long ways, literally, and I suspect figuratively as well.
What do we really know about Mr. House? He saved the city of Vegas from annihilation, laser defense batteries. He is intelligent and competent. He invited the local tribal communities to live in luxury on the Strip, transforming them into the 3 families. The Securitrons are the source of his power. They make him the boss of Vegas. He even has a Securitron GF.
Don't let the video screens and computer terminals fool you. I'm flesh and blood, not silicone.
His biggest weakness is people. He doesn't really control the 3 families and has no human employees, except for yours truly.
That's crazy.
By making us his agent, he turned us into a celebrity.
That one must be important around here.
The first task is to recover the package we were carrying, the Platinum Chip. The Tops Hotel and Casino. Benny is inside. The guards at the front door will always confiscate all our weapons, with the exception of holdout items we can hide on us via the sneak skill.
Ring-a-ding, baby.
Out of all of the casinos, the Tops is the most welcoming. Other Strip factions are basically over-designed Fallout creeps, but the chairmen are just pleasant to be around. I can see how this place can be a tourist attraction, but that's not why we're here.
What in the goddamn?
Hitler's last words.
Either way, baby, this is good news. Maybe I can finally sleep at night.
Benny attempts to damage control the situation by offering us the presidential suite. I'll play along.
How is it that you're still living?
This is the 2nd or 3rd big conversation in Novo Vegas. One can frame it as right libertarianism versus left libertarianism, but it's really Mr. House versus the authentic culture of Vegas, which until recently included Mr. House. Benny explains his plan.
Broad strokes? Change in management.
The Platinum chip is the key to all this. Its purpose is to upgrade the combat power of Securitrons. With the army of robots at our disposal, New Vegas can defend itself against the Legion or the NCR or whoever. We can become a nation, so to speak. It's a complicated plan with a lot of variables, including removing Mr. House and taking control of his systems.
One of the problems of a tribal workforce, I'm afraid. No intuitive understanding of how complex technologies can be.
That's a point of view.
Baby, the odds may look long, but that's just because we ain't done rigging them.
And that is another.
I'll keep you on retainer and pay bonuses for special missions.
Benny understands that he is talking to an RPG player and carefully constructs the conversation to make us believe that he is a quest giver and that this is a start of a quest chain.
Ring-a-ding, baby, ta-ta.
The real reason I'm letting him go is because I enjoy his writing and voice acting. They confiscated our weapons, but there is somebody's grenade rifle in the safe here.
What the fuck?
He is still in the building. Mr. House said we should expect to find a hidden computer lab.
He wants to kill Mr. House and use the Platinum chip to copy my neurocomputational matrix onto the Lucky 38's mainframe.
The iconic character Yes Man, a robot reprogrammed by a specialist from the followers to be a loyal servant of whoever it's talking to. This is how Benny learned about the Platinum chip.
That should give me control over all Mr. House's defenses. Most prominently, his Securitrons. Then I just do what Benny tells me. Easy peasy!
Just yesterday, the notion of free Vegas was an idealistic nonsense proposition with no connection to reality. This changes today. Technology opens new ways for us to organize a society. The Yes Man path is a fork of the main quest that is always available to the player. The robot is the only character in this game that is unkillable. It looks like Benny escaped us. That's good. Sure, I'll kill him, but I won't enjoy it.
The eyes of the mighty Kaisar are upon you.
Hi, Vulpes. I was just thinking about you.
Incidentally, it will interest you to know that the man you seek has fled the Strip and is likely making haste for Kaisar's camp as we speak.
We are finally gonna meet Edward.
It was not a challenge to find you. Nor is this my first visit to the Strip.
Do you think he hides his accent when talking to others? He doesn't address them in the machinic frumentari voice, does he?
The nociception regulator modifies your cardiovascular system.
Relevant, since we'll be traveling to the edge of the map again. Cass refuses to wear a Legion uniform, but she does wear a helmet that looks very scarf-like. Babushka aesthetic. And this is what I was talking about when I mentioned logistical challenges. The lifeline that connects the Cottonwood Cove to the main base of the fortification hill is a raft. This makes the Legion successes in the southern Mojave psychological in nature.
All who are not Legion are dissolute.
As we are traveling across the river, Ari Rubin will explain the nuances of Legion vocabulary.
Even worse are the profligates, the subtype of dissolute one finds this side of the river. They hold themselves to be civilized, when in fact they are corrupt and self-interested. The truth will be made clear to them soon enough.
Love how he's decorated the place.
Same?
So you're the visitor I've heard some of the legionaries talking about.
This is Dale Barton, a free merchant supplying the Legion. We bond over a game of Caravan. Dale says that he does sometimes travel to the NCR territories, but very much prefers to stick to the regions controlled by Kaisar. It's safer. The Legionnaires know how to deal with raider crime. Oh wow, trading with the Legion must be quite lucrative. Alright bro, I'll count the reps. 0, 0, 0, 0.
The work never ends.
All the slaves in the camp are women. I found a katana in somebody's footlocker. This is a neckbeard ethno-state. There are side quests in the camp, and we can fight in the arena. It's not very good, though. They say Vegas was a return to form, but the badass arena combat is certainly not back. Let's go meet the man himself. They captured Benny.
Go ahead and laugh, baby. I ain't blind to the humor in this situation.
Maybe I can convince Kaisar to let you go. I hate killing characters with good voice acting.
So I finally get to meet the courier who's accomplished so much in so little time. I mean, a man nearly kills you, and your response is to track him across the breadth of the Mojave?
Actually, it was a coincidence. We were going to the same place. All roads and all that. In order to understand Kaisar, we'll have to retrace his steps.
He came out of NCR, one of the followers of the apocalypse.
Many years ago, a young anthropologist and linguist, Edward traveled east and adventured to the frontier. He and several others got kidnapped by a violent tribe. So Edward goes to the tribe's chieftain and says, "Sir, clearly there are problems in your tribal society. Please read the bread book by Prince Kropotkin. It says we should cooperate instead of competing." And the tribal chief responds, "Buddy, we are characters in the Fallout fictional setting. This is not real life. The developers made us extra dumb and violent, but also weirdly persistent. Somehow our idiot communities managed to survive for hundreds of years. I suppose it's simply more fun for the player if we are like this. I don't even know how to read. War never changes. How do we prevent humans from waging war?" The master tried to solve this problem by turning humans into mutants, erasing ethnic and national differences. The Enclave attempted to physically kill anyone who wasn't like them. The NCR solution is to embrace the diverse nature of their society. But Edward has different ideas now. His kidnappers were at war with multiple neighboring tribes, and they were losing. Not wanting to go down with the ship, Ed had to step in to teach them how to use firearms, how to make explosives, small unit tactics, and this is how he was transformed into Kaisar. The tribe defeated their enemies and assimilated them. Then they assimilated other neighboring tribes. The Legion grew. Soon it was large enough to conquer cities. Here in Nevada, we have two wonders of the world in close proximity. You won't find a more perfect place for a capital. This is the 7th Dialectic. One needs to complete all the previous Dialectics to unlock this one. You befriend a bunch of cannibals, then you shape the cannibals into fascists, and then you shape the fascists into Republicans.
Easy peasy!
Kaisar gives us the platinum chip they seized from Benny.
Careful where you flash that chip of yours.
Thanks for the advice, Babushka Cass. The chip unlocks a sealed vault beneath the fort. Edward wants us to destroy the technology inside so that it cannot be used against the Legion. The Securitron vault is marked by the Lucky 38 symbol. Mr. House has a different set of instructions.
I need you to manually upload the data from the chip.
The Platinum chip is the firmware upgrade for Securitrons. There is a secret army of them hidden in the vault. This is the first irreversible big story decision we get to make. Destroying the robot cache will make Mr. House our enemy forever. We don't want that, at least not yet. A powerful tool waiting for the right cause.
I felt the ground shake a while ago. I'll take that as a sign you've got the job done.
Defying Kaisar's orders has no negative repercussions this time. Our reward is that we get to decide how Benny dies.
Make Vegas a town I would have been proud of, baby.
Benny knows what's up. He wants us to inherit his scheme. Close your eyes.
Nah, I'd rather see it coming.
A fair kill.
This is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. No, this is the worst thing. 0, 0, 0, 0.
First Vegas, now NCR and Legion. You're being courted more than a Redding widow.
Very funny, Cass. You know who else was a Redding widow?
Let's press on, shall we?
Kaisar wants us to terminate Mr. House, but we'll delay that order. Benny's outfit will be stored in the follower's compound, as well as his unique pistol Maria. It killed us before, so clearly it's powerful.
In addition, Top's hotel owner Benny has been killed by an unidentified assailant. His former right-hand man, Swank, consoled mourners.
If I know my pal Benny, he's swinging with the big cat upstairs as we speak. Or he's chasing some angel broad with cans as big as her halo.
Stay classy, New Vegas.
Back during the first battle for the dam, Camp Golf used to be the front line, the only resort in New Vegas no one wanted to get sent to. These days, it's a communications hub and a logistics base. The troopers live in tents, while the rangers occupy the luxurious hotel building.
This is where they send all the fuck-ups and people they don't want. But hey,
It's not like I'm bitter or anything.
Squad CG-554-2 of the New California Republic's Army 9th Platoon are a notoriously incompetent group of troopers who refuse to work together. The Misfits are the antithesis of the 1st Recon.
If you perform too poorly, they'll scrub you out. Perform too well, and you get sent to the front lines.
Our friend Edward will never admit it, but the truth is, the NCR is quite proficient at integrating communities, perhaps more so than the Legion. We've seen individuals of different ethnicities, genders, and degrees of neurodivergence work together pretty well. It's the legacy of Vault 15. The Misfits are the flip side.
All I have to do is ride that mediocrity gradient to a cushy, do-nothing job miles away from the war.
The Misfits are here to remind us that making the Republic function the way it does requires effort, and this shouldn't be taken for granted.
Though you aren't of the Legion, you've aided us more than once.
The game spawns a disguised Legion spy who loudly addresses us in a Frumentarius accent. We are in the middle of an NCR military base, and he'll get away with it too. They're just that good. He says they're willing to share items the Legionnaires are forbidden to use, but when I check the drop box, it's just Legion coins.
Suffice to say, I'm a certified genius, and when I'm discharged from this pit of testosterone and failure...
There is an art of creating a memorable side character with just a few lines of text. Deus Ex 1 is the standing champion when it comes to this sort of thing, but Vegas is good too. Now, Cass, I want you to meet someone.
I know a bit about you, Courier. Heard someone messed you up pretty bad over in Good Springs. I heard a few other things too. Some good, but not all.
Chief Hanlon is the head of the NCR Rangers. He served for over 40 years, joining even before Elise became Ranger Chief around 2241. Elise is this character, so he has a weak connection to Fallout 2. Over nearly half a century, the Rangers grew from a small team of abolitionists to a professional military force.
Got a second?
Sergeant Reyes here starts an unassuming little side quest that wraps up Chief Hanlon's arc and has profound consequences for the Mojave.
I've come across numerous inconsistencies between our numbers and our reports, especially with regards to intercepting hostiles. I'm wondering if our radio security codes have been compromised.
Return to Sender is a series of fetch quests. We need to deliver new codes to each one of the ranger stations. That's a lot of busy work, but at least it's an excuse to check on old friends.
Leave doggies alone.
This is Ranger Station Foxtrot in the forested area west of Vegas.
You're here for the money. I told the Emeritus I was good for it.
I'm just here for the codes, lady.
Well, yeah.
Ranger Station Bravo, Eastern Desert. Despite objections, these guys keep getting extra ammunition they never asked for. Ranger Station Echo, staffed by ghouls.
I just don't know what you're trying to pull.
Ranger Station Charlie. There is no need to listen to melodramatic audio logs to figure out that they've been hit by the Legion. Booby-trapped bodies, a Legion signature tactic.
We've received some disturbing reports from some of the ranger stations. The weirdest one has to be the Great Khans and their trained death claws at Foxtrot.
What? Is this Fallout Tactics? No, if anything, this looks more like the Elder Scrolls Oblivion.
Trained death claws? I would have remembered that.
Reyes says all radio reports go through Chief Hanlon at Camp Gulf.
Hold on. If we're gonna have this conversation, let's go somewhere more private.
The troops have been fighting and dying in the Mojave for more than 5 years. The residents of Vegas have no respect for them. Mr. House and the families get rich off NCR caps. They drain them dry as they fight and die. Hanlon thinks the NCR isn't ready for what's coming. They won't be able to repeat the Boulder City trick for the second time. And even if they somehow do succeed, what then? Do they patrol the whole length of the Colorado for hundreds of miles forever? People back home don't care. Conscription routinely brings fresh troops to die for the locals who hate them. General Oliver never got over the fact that the Rangers got credit for the Boulder City victory. Whatever Hanlon recommends, he does the opposite.
I said I wanted us on the ridge. He put them right on the western part of the dam itself. We don't have enough firepower to hold that spot.
Once the Legion attacks, Oliver's troopers will retreat, and the Rangers will move in to cover them. They'll do their duty, and they will die.
We lose the dam. Oliver and the Senator are ruined.
Poor Hanlon. It appears he doesn't even know how to liberal. He should have spent less time on the Rangers and more time building power and scheming behind the scenes. The radio reports were his way of delegitimizing the mission in the eyes of the troopers. It was his way of doing something. But then he got people killed, and this was when he realized he went too far.
Rangers, this is the chief.
Hanlon's last radio transmission.
I couldn't find us a way out of this desert.
He admits to making mistakes, but never says exactly what he did. This is up to us to reveal, and I have no intention of doing that.
Send me all the Legion you can. I'll be waiting for it.
That shot came from the chief's office.
They will never learn what happened. Ranger Sequoia is given to veterans after 20 years of dedicated service. Engraved along the barrel are the words, "For honorable service" and "Against all tyrants."
Back west, you don't see too many of these. Lakes, I mean. Natural or man-made. Any kind, really. We neglected the dams or pumped all the water out a long time ago. Drained the aquifers of everything they had.
So, Rose of Sharon Cassidy. We sure live in a society, don't we?
Maybe Caesar kicking them in the nuts is a nice wake-up call, is all I'm saying.
Many characters in this game, even the Powder Gangers, have a nuanced relationship with the Republic. They still believe in the NCR way of doing things, while fully acknowledging that the state is overstretched and dysfunctional.
Nobody's dick's that long. Not even Long Dick Johnson, and he had a fucking long dick. Thus the name.
NCR and their goddamn nicknames, am I right? Every invading body claims it was invited by someone. Except for the Legion. Kaiser doesn't give a dead dog's dick. For a common legionnaire, the transformation of the Legion into Rome might be a path to a better life, assuming Edward doesn't kill you in a human wave attack before that happens. But why would the people of Nevada support it? Cass makes a point that if the Legion offered the same protection to settlements they do to caravans, many would have taken the offer. But it was never on the table. And Mr. House doesn't seem to be interested in managing anything beyond the Vegas Strip. Or perhaps he simply lacks power to interfere. And Rose appears to be, departing the zoo of being by falling through the floor. But this is a common reaction to the machinic nature of the NCR system. Sure, we can go to court, I guess, and maybe write a letter to our senator, but who is this person who uses everyone's favorite storytelling engine, Fallout New Vegas, to enact a fantasy of waiting in line at the post office? I'm not that kind of a mailman. This guy was probably not responsible for what happened to Cassidy's caravans, but, you can't make a Deathclaw omelet without... Accidental firearm discharge. Situation under control. The Van Graffs are much harder to kill. One of the more complicated mid-game engagements.
Baby, the odds may look long, but that's just because we ain't done rigging them.
Steal all the plasma mines they sell. Make sure Rose is instructed to wait. Place the mines in strategic places. Trigger the fight. Damn. So long, Jean-Baptiste. Gloria. Discharged from the pit of testosterone and failure. The criminal family in the next Fallout game should be called the Kara Yakubians. Alright, patron credits and then the final observations. Individuals who subscribe to Warlockracy Patreon possess the power of dialectical materialism and are able to predict the future with 100% accuracy. This is science-based. Special thanks to Jim Lawrence, Frog, a two-room apartment in Bobruisk, Belarus, Miracle Moses Porter, Azazel and Baneful the Doggo, Danny Kilpatrick, Tony Spagoni, Serpin, Ilya Rubin, Dmitry Yu, Ganso Bomber Motherfucker, Eric Luitkihans, 1967 Ford Mustang, Buck Swope, Yuri Solodovnichenko, Snafu, Dark Butt Pumpkin, Maciejeva. My next video will be on I Divine Cybermancy, Source is the best engine ever made, Billy Strayhorn, Ray Ners, I Feed My Parrot Chicken, and C6. So this is how Benny really died, without editing tricks.
Put that away!
The indignity of death in Bethesda's engine.
The weak must die.
There are no companion romances in New Vegas, but if you have the Lady Killer perk, you can flirt, sometimes.
I know your look. You probably say all the right things. So we're clear. Nothing's gonna happen between us. You'd best respect that.
She also reacts to various other perk and gender combinations. The picture of Mr. House in front of Liberty Prime is referencing this photo of Howard Hughes, an American engineer, magnate, and pilot, one of the richest and the most influential people in the world in the 1940s. Hanlon doesn't have to die. You can just let him go. But in that case, the character doesn't have much of an arc. The helmet was made by Puddle Pond. Check out their Nexus page. Oh, and I almost forgot. The difference between dialectic and diuretic. The latter is a type of drug that makes you piss a lot. So no big difference. Baldur's Gate.
A big congratulations to a young band of soldiers who shattered NCR records on a combat readiness evaluation at Camp Golf. Go get 'em, guys.